Parenting Underachieving Children 101. You learn the art of empowering children performing below their potentials. Underachieving children are children who are performing below their potentials due to emotional, motivational, and learning issues. What will you learn? You will learn the four rules of empowering underachieving children. You also learn why children don't learn fast enough. You would learn techniques for empowering underachieving children. You would also learn why children perform below their potential. And lastly, you will learn the secret sauce for parenting your underachieving children. Now let's talk about the four unbreakable rules. The four unbreakable rules are indeed unbreakable. The first rule is that only techniques that work for your child are relevant to your parenting. Many people have ideas of what works, but only you can have an idea of the right techniques that work for your child. So it's only the technique that works for your own child that is relevant. And there are some techniques that work and there are others that don't. So secondly, you must use the techniques that work most before you use those that work just a little. Thirdly, the age and the mental language of the child must be considered. The mental language of the child is how the child's brain processes information. Your child's mental language is how he processes information, especially when things are not working his way. There are three kinds of mental languages. We have visual mental language, we have auditory, and we have kinesthetic. Some children process information visually, while others process it auditorily, and others process it via feelings and touch. So you must understand or you must uncover your child's specific mental language. And lastly, skills that the child needs to learn must be provided. You must provide the specific skills, the list of skills that your child needs to learn or master. Now, it is important that you're able to master the four unbreakable rules. You have to consistently and consciously look out for techniques that work for your child and write them down. At times, you may forget. Write them down. You see, there's some techniques that are important and there are some that are not so important. It's also important that you note these. You also need to consider the child's age and mental language. How you empower a 7-year-old is obviously different from how you empower a 14-year-old and so on. Also, the child's mental language is important. How you empower an auditory child is different from how you empower a child who is, visual. And very different from how you empower a child who is kinesthetically, driven. So it's also important that you provide the specific skills that the child needs to master. If a child has issues with remembering things, you should master memorization skills. So the specific skills that the child needs depends on the situation of things. Now, you should make planning a priority. Planning is essential for empowering underachieving children. There are four areas based on what is called the 4M technique that you should plan for. You should plan for how to motivate your child. You should also plan for how to mentor your child. You should plan for how to model for your child. Modeling means looking out for a model for that child. It doesn't have to be you. You may just need to look out for a role model or someone that the child can look up to, or even a book where the child can read about somebody who is doing what he or she wants to, do. And lastly, you should work on multiplying the child's influence and skills. Every child has strengths and opportunities for them to exert their influence. So you should help that child multiply that influence by giving the child opportunity to, influence people and ideas. So this is very important, and also improve on the skills that he has learned. Now you have to do it on a day-to-day basis. You have to plan ahead how to empower your child in the four areas on a day-to-day basis. For instance, you can motivate the child on a Monday morning. You can model for the child on Monday night. You can mentor the child on Monday afternoon. On Tuesday, you can also have your schedule or plan for either mentoring, either motivating or modeling, as the case may be, or even multiplication. So it's all up to you. You can do it anyhow you want to. Now, at times, some children take a long time for you to see changes. It all boils down to the four rules, the four unbreakable rules. Now, the reasons why they don't improve fast enough is because the techniques that you use are probably not effective, or they are not relevant enough to cause significant improvement. Perhaps you've been using techniques that do not really make much impact, or perhaps their empowerment need, is not met. You see, every child has an empowerment need. It is not in the scope of this course to talk about empowerment need, but in every situation that you need to empower a child, there is a specific need that the child has. So if you've not met that empowerment need, it may make learning slow. Also, if you've not considered the age on the mental language, or if the age and mental language is an hindrance to learning. Say if you're trying to empower a child that is visual to learn something that is auditory, so it may affect how fast that child learns. And this means you have to, consider all of this. And lastly, the child has not mastered the needed skills that he needs to be able to show that he has improved, or show that things have changed. So it is important that you consider all of these techniques. There's over so many techniques. There are over 20 techniques for empowering children, such as the growth mindset, the locus rule, the effort rule, the Feynman technique, SMP method, the Shadowless model, and even certain NLP technique. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. It's an advanced technique for empowering underachievers. So you can also use any of those techniques as the case may be. And it is important that you learn as many of these techniques as possible. I mentioned the 4M techniques, that is the techniques that covers the four areas: mentoring, modeling, motivating, and multiplication. You can master that technique and use it. You can also master the growth mindset. You know how to foster growth mindset in your child. You can master the locus rule. The locus rule is based on the fact that how a child feels about himself. It goes a long way in how he is able to achieve. So you can master the locus rule, the effort rule, the SMP model, and every other model. Now you need to master more than one. You need to master more than one model. This is because they tend to go in circles. At times you think they've improved because they are faking it. So if you use just one model, you will not be able to understand whether the child has truly improved or not, or it may even be slow. So because that's particular because a particular technique might not be significant enough to make changes. Now, the secret sauce to empowerment is the four unbreakable laws of empowerment. If you use the four unbreakable laws of empowerment, you are likely to see sustained change. The four unbreakable law is very, very significant in empowering underachievement. Would you like to learn about these laws? You can learn it by taking one of our courses, or by getting one of our books. The book is called Those Students Need You. It is a book for empowering students performing below their potential. You will learn about a term called underachievement, which describes students who are performing below their potential. You also learn how to uncover improvement areas for empowering underachieving students. You learn the 4 rules of empowerment. You would also master the art of empowerment by learning about 17 different categories of underachievers and how to empower them. You would also learn to treat random cases. Random cases are cases like the ones you see on the internet where you don't have full information, where you just have very little information with which to, you know, understand the case. So you learn how to treat random cases and become an expert. The book is great for empowering underachieving adults too. It is good for teachers and parents, and it is easy to understand. You would find ideas for supporting, mentoring, and partnering with parents of underachievers. It's hard to tell a parent that your child is an underachiever. So you learn how to work with them and walk them through it. You will learn how to create empowerment plans. And in fact, if you want to start a career as an underachieving person trainer and mentor, you will find ideas for doing that in this book. This book is just 3,500 naira. It will teach you how to effortlessly teach, train, and mentor underachieving students and make a genius out of them, even if they are your children. This book is very, very, very uh, good for learning about underachievement. You can also ask your questions. You can talk to me or my other teammates. Ask your questions or listen to a live podcast every Tuesday. You may also join our community for a discounted 1,250 naira monthly. So to learn more about empowering underachieving persons, just reach out to us on WhatsApp on 0033653575 and 0021318286. With this, we come to the end of this free basic course. Thank you. Thank you for your attention and time.